Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bog Panda, where on tonight's show, we're going to find out just how stupid Kelly is. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram. And with me, as always,
I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything. And tonight's soda choice is the Pepsi Peeps soda.
It's a bold choice, Mike.
if you were, well, I think we're going to lose our guest based on that alone. Although I've got it. How would you describe Pepsi Peeps flavor?
Marshmallow. It is marshmallow flavored soda.
Is it marshmallow consistency? Do you have to pull it out of the can?
No, that'd be even better though.
Yeah, I bet. But more importantly, joining us tonight is Billy, a doctor of cryptology, a cryptocurrency expert, more expert than me. And so the hope is Mike has tried a couple of times to get me to come along the trail. And basically, so far, all I know is Atari tokens across the board. That's all I'm doing is all the 401k IRAs have gone into Atari tokens, and I'll be able to spend them at their hotel. And I think I'm good, but maybe there's more to the story. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. So, Mike, anything you want to kind of set up as we get started here?
Well, first, I want to tell everybody to like and subscribe because Kelly is the host tonight, failed to do so.
Second person's supposed to do it.
Well, I did. So there you go. Crushing it already.
Nicely done. Good.
So, I mean, I think first we need to do a little bit of an introduction with our guests. So, Kelly, how do you guys know each other? How scared are you of Kelly?
Oh, I love Kelly. I'm not scared of Kelly at all. Kelly is the man. Kelly, you could give the little intro here if you want.
As some of the Bog Panda listeners know, I retired from like an official job, but found some time to spend time with like-minded people interested in the highly exciting world of digital marketing. And that's where Billy and I have crossed paths. And so we've had a lot of fun talking about all things digital marketing.
And all things not digital marketing as well. I think we have fun talking about digital marketing, but I think some of our best conversations are outside of that too. So
I would agree 100%. So it was a big Star Wars guy, as you can see from back behind, which is kind of a criterion, a good one from there. But and not scared of me at all, Mike. So there. He's scared of you
I
because I've
feel
warned
left
him.
out. I don't have any Star Wars stuff near me here.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not cool like Billy and I.
I have the Star Wars arcade cabinet.
You can't buy cool, Mike.
pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Still think you can't buy cool, Mike. So,
You can, just like you can buy being a doctor.
yes, Billy is featured in the recently released short where we talked to random people. Just happened across Billy while I was there. Random people at Yankee Stadium. I explained the whole circumstances, Mike rationale. I represented your side well, Mike. And
I can imagine.
people landed in a different place. Every last one of them.
And I
Actually,
made you my vice mayor.
that's true. And I'm also, Billy, just so you know, Mike and I have had one unsuccessful presidential campaign so far. Is that?
I wouldn't say unsuccessful.
Yeah, no. We didn't
Fairly
win. Well,
successful.
it was rigged. We would have won, but I got the great opportunity to be Mike's vice president, which means I'll be president rapidly.
Well, you were my deputy mayor when I was mayor for a day.
That's true.
So
Why don't you share with Billy what town you were mayor of, Mike?
I was mayor of Hell, Michigan for a day.
That's pretty impressive.
It was part of, since you guys love marketing, it was part of a marketing stunt that was set up pre-pandemic to promote a release that I had coming out. And then the pandemic happened, so I kind of thought it was canceled. And of course, the great people of hell were like, "Why?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, why?" So we went ahead with it anyway. So instead of being there and being inducted, whatever it is they do to make you a mayor, we made a nice little presentation video.
There you go. A remote mayor, that works.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So the whole fact you're not even sure how a person becomes a mayor, Mike, you go inducted, whatever, I think translates well to the whole doctor thing too. It's just like you don't get inducted to be a doctor either. So
Yeah, you do. It's the same.
it's
You
not
don't know. You're not a
signed.
doctor.
There we go. All right. So I'm gonna start this off by um the number one thing I don't understand. Well, let's start this way here. Billy, if you were to kind of summarize cryptocurrency in a couple sentences, what's kind of the engine behind it? What's kind of up with cryptocurrency?
It really depends. There's so many cryptocurrencies out there, right? So it really depends on what crypto you're talking about. It's so tough because, I mean, crypto's been around for over 10 years. Bitcoin, obviously, the first true cryptocurrency, right? But there's thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies now at this point, and they all kind of serve a different purpose. So you have tokens, coins that act as a means of exchange, right? You have tokens or coins again that you can essentially turn into a good or service, right? Or a piece of art, things like that. So it's tough to kind of speak to it as a whole and aggregate. It really depends on the currency that you're talking about.
Okay. Mike, anything to add?
It was the only way you could purchase things on Silk Road, so that got me really interested.
Yeah. That's where most people know of Bitcoin from back in the day, right?
That's where Kelly knows it from. This is Kelly's cover ID. Is like, I don't know what Bitcoin is. Can you fellas explain it to me?
I have no idea. No. So I get, so it's an alternative. I mean, just like $20 bill, ultimately, it's not worth $20 itself, but there's a framework behind it that establishes its value and people's willingness to exchange. So I kind of see, crypto kind of being in that space, but going a little more virtual and all of that. The one part that it's white noise to me, and I'm really looking forward to, if you guys can explain this to me tonight, it'd be great, is mining. Because I get the idea of, okay, I've established a currency. It has value. You can exchange it. Some people will accept it. I get all that. That makes sense to me. But I can't go out and mine $20 bills. And so I'm trying to figure out if I'm mining crypto, is it not really mining? It's not like I'm digging around trying to find something. So can you help me a little bit? Because that's the one big concept that's really eluded me.
Yeah. So the US dollar, right? The US dollar used to be backed by gold. It's not anymore, right? And as we saw over the last few years, the government can turn up the dial and say, hey, I'm going to print all this money and have an impact on the circulating supply of US dollars, right? Bitcoin, if we're going to talk about crypto, I think it's important to start with Bitcoin, right? And kind of look through that lens to start. So Bitcoin was created in 2008 or 2009 by an anonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, right? It could be one person, it could be a group of people, but they kind of saw through the financial crisis and what was going on around that time, they kind of saw that aspect of money was a big problem, right? And ultimately it's really not backed by anything, right? So this person or this group of people set out to create this currency that was cryptographically secured. So essentially algorithm, right? Algorithmic money. At the time, it was kind of futuristic, right? I think we have AI and stuff for a lot of other things now, but that at the time was profound. So Satoshi Nakamoto creates Bitcoin, and one of the laws of Bitcoin is that it's produced by essentially computation power, right? Computer power. So it's an algorithm. I guess going back to the mining component of it, to explain it, all the hash power, all the people, the users of Bitcoin are essentially trying to create or solve a math equation, right? And all that computational power is essentially what's going to go into cracking that code, so to speak. The reward that person or a group of people gets is Bitcoin. So they're essentially powering the network through their computers. Usually it's a group of people or a pool that are mining, and that creates the next piece of Bitcoin, the next block of Bitcoin, so to speak. The value component of it was built up over time, right? As people saw that this is a more cryptographic and a more legitimate form of money, that's where I think value got kind of arise from.
Still not quite there. Mike, you want to take a shot?
I might have this better
It
than
helped. It helped. You got me further down the road. I'll give you that. So that's good.
So the only thing I would add to that, I think you did an incredible job. The only thing I would add to it is that the mining also helps add a value structure to it because it creates a finite amount of it ultimately that could be produced, which it goes back to what he was saying about, devaluing the fiat currency that we currently use by just constantly printing more of it and further devaluing it. So instead of, we've been off the gold standard for quite a while, but instead of having anything that's backed by a centralized banking system, we're essentially trading off of the value of our debt to other countries. So this creates the value of it by creating a finite amount of Bitcoin that has to be physically mined by a network of computers.
The reward for mining Bitcoin halves every 4 years, right? So I don't even know what it's at now. I think it's every time a block is mined successfully, it's 12 and a half Bitcoin, right? And then I think the next halving is the beginning of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So that the reward will be cut in half. So it's essentially deflationary money over time. Whereas with the US dollar and fiat currencies, we can print an unlimited amount. It causes one of the causes of inflation.
So is fiat currency something you guys throw around to talk down to us?
We were texting before this and we made that term up just to mess with you. We were going to see how long it took you.
Yeah, because that would be you could only use it to buy fiats. Is that how that works?
Fiat currency is currency that's not on a gold standard.
And Bitcoin's not on a gold standard, right?
Correct.
So it's a fiat currency.
Correct. Well, any currency that's not on a gold standard would be fiat currency. The difference, though, is that our fiat currency that we currently use and what most countries do through a centralized banking system, its value is essentially the value of our debt to other countries, since it's not backed up by anything else.
Yeah. All right. So let's say I got that 100%. Let's go with that. I'm totally in it now. I got it.
Like you did.
Crystal clear, like I got. I mean, I could explain it to a 3-year-old. So let's just say that sounds great. I think I'm gonna go mine. It's time for me to go mine. I'm gonna jump off the show. You and Billy can talk, and I'm gonna go do some mine. You're shaking your head. Why can't I go mine?
Very expensive to mine. It uses a lot of energy. And as far as I know, Mike, I mean, the returns on mining have kind of diminished over the years, right? I think it takes a lot more miners, rigs. I mean, it's people have mining farms where it's a whole warehouse full of machines essentially that are just pumping out power to crack the algorithm, right? So it's not really feasible, in my opinion, for an average person to mine.
Even if I have an Amiga 500 and an Amiga 2000 that I could chain together. Guess no.
For a while, these graphic cards were reselling like crazy, right? And I'm sure they still are. But anytime a new graphics card comes out that is able to, put out more power, essentially, they sell out. People are building PCs, people are doing things like that, but a lot of them go to the miners as well.
Interesting. Okay. So right now, Billy, in terms of there are a lot of different kinds of cryptocurrency out there. Is there anyone in particular? I'm dreading asking this question to Mike because I think I know where it's going to go. We'll save that. Is there any kind of currency that a normal, well-adjusted person such as yourself, Billy, might be interested in and using?
Bitcoin is the go-to. I think Bitcoin's the tried and true currency. It's been around the longest. It's recognized by governments and things like that now. So I think that is number one. My personal play is Ethereum. So I've been invested in Ethereum since 2018, 2019. Um, and Ethereum's a little bit different. So it is transactional. You can send Ethereum to a friend or a family member, but it's actually used to essentially be a platform to build on. So you can build other apps off the Ethereum protocol. Um, NFTs are a good example, right? So if you're from, I don't know if you're familiar with NFTs, Kelly, but big craze 2020, 2021, and even recently, people are putting out profile pictures on NFTs, and it's really just um, a secure a secure item essentially that can't be broken down any more than it already is, right? So it's a one like a one of one, like a collectible back in the day, right? You get a one of one, hey, this is a one of one, there's value in it. An NFT can be a one of one, a one of 100, a one of 1,000, art, things like that. That's NFTs are built off of Ethereum. That's one platform to build off of. So that's kind of the play that I have been kind of dabbling in the last few years. It's quote unquote in the on like crypto Twitter and whatnot. It's ultrasound money, right? Essentially, that's kind of the idea behind it. But it is a platform for building as well.
Yep. But not Atari token. That's what I'm hearing. So
No.
yeah, take a look at it. I'm telling you. Mike, your preference?
I mean, Bitcoin would be the main one I would tell people to look into, because you're establishing the whole idea of what the blockchain system is that a lot of the other Litecoins have been built off of. But I would say the easiest to understand for most people and the easiest to get into would be Dogecoin. They produce so much of it that it intentionally devalues itself. They refer to it often as like a tipping currency, because they intentionally keep the value of each Dogecoin low by producing a lot more of it than Ethereum or Bitcoin,
Okay.
or Atari tokens.
Telling you, it's just they look cool. I mean, they've got a nice logo for it. They look really cool, and they say you're gonna be able to spend them at their hotel. So I'm all excited about that. So even though you guys crushed my dreams and tell me I can't wire my old Amigas together and start mining there, let's say instead of me going, okay, I'm gonna go mine, I'm saying, all right, I feel dangerous enough to take the next step. If I were to say, all right, I want to get me some Bitcoin. So what would my steps be?
There's a number of ways you could go about purchasing it nowadays. I mean, back in the day, I remember 2017, there was only a handful of exchanges that you can purchase it on in the US. Um, I would say the most reputable and most well-known exchange would be Coinbase. Really, really simple. You create a Coinbase account, you link a bank account or a credit card to it, and Bitcoin will be in that account within 5 minutes. So it's really, really quick. There's a lot more on ramps than now than there were in years past, right? So that would be my approach. Would be Coinbase. A good one in New York State is Gemini. It's owned by the Winklevoss twins. So missed out on Facebook, but started that exchange. There's a couple different on ramps nowadays.
Mike, would you offer any differing advice or another suggestion, or is that a good route to go?
No, I think that would be a good route to go. I remember, so my first experience with it was gaining it from other people, rather than even going through the exchanges, because a lot of those early ones were so fly by night that I didn't really trust that. So there were ways you could exchange goods and services for Bitcoin online.
And you're gonna stop there, right? Okay, good. All right. Still, I'm further along on mining than before, but I'm still not there. So you guys both mentioned a little bit earlier this idea of finite amount, scarcity, kind of a generating a value sort of thing. I don't think either use the word scarcity, but I kind of, when I think about things in a finite number, scarcity is something that acts upon that. That's the other part that I've always really kind of struggled with, is to say, is that there is a set number of whatever the currency is out there and it's just going through exchange there. And then when there's mining, I'm assuming that's adding to the base. Am I getting that right?
You are. Yeah. Mike, if I don't know if you want to take this, but I'll just say that I think the total amount of Bitcoin is 21 million. I want to say something like 4 million have been lost. And again, back in the day, there wasn't these exchanges that would just custodian your money for you, right? Custodian your Bitcoin for you. So people had them on hard drives, they had them in random places, right? And there's a story about someone in, I think, Great Britain or somewhere that had $200 million of Bitcoin on his computer, and the computer ended up getting thrown out in the dump, and he's trying to track down that computer and like pay the dump, the junkyard that it's in and whatnot to try to recover it. But it's just way different now.
Yeah, it's a really different system. There is sort of a easier set of commerce that you can go through purchasing Bitcoin, storing it. You don't have to set up a digital wallet on a hard drive, like Billy was saying, that you could then potentially lose.
Okay. And what was the location, Billy? You were talking about it's easy to set up and get your wallet established.
Number of different ways you could do it. I would say Coinbase is
Coinbase.
one of the best apps, just the most well known. They had an ad in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The other alternative too is just Cash App. Like you can buy Bitcoin on Cash App. I know a lot of times people use Cash App for other things, but I have like a recurring buy on Cash App. So every day I buy like $10, $15 worth of Bitcoin and just automatically purchase it. And then this way you don't have to worry about market ebbs and flows. You're just dollar cost averaging into it over time.
Okay. So this, I think this is a question. We'll find out. It's a question. It may not be a very good question. So is Bitcoin a security or a security or a commodity or an investment? So is it a currency or is it an investment? Or is it both?
That's what's up for debate, right? And I think that's kind of the tricky part. So those different bodies that govern securities or commodities, they'll kind of go back and forth. I think it just happened recently. The CTFC, I think, is one of them. They're talking about how it is or isn't a commodity, and it's ongoing. So I think until there's real scrutiny of it, of these different currencies, and people really dig in and start debating, which I think will happen over the next 5 to 10 years, there's no hard answer to that, right? And then again, you kind of drill down into the different currencies, you're probably going to get a different answer for each of those currencies as well. So it's tough. I think it is a currency that people, depending on what you're talking about, right? Bitcoin, let's say, is a currency that people speculate on, right? So I think there is room to make money. There's room for an investment component there. The other side will say, hey, it's just a currency. It's an alternative to the US dollar that we're trying to, be able to utilize to transfer money, right? So it's so tricky to put a label on it, I think.
Cool. All right. I'm a little better. I'm not smart yet, but I'm less stupid. So that's always a goal. Be a little bit better on it there.
Kelly,
Mike, you
what?
got anything to close us out with?
As somebody who's been under federal investigation before, I would just like to say that anything that was said that sounds strange in this episode is all Kelly's fault.
And I'd like to just finish off with saying, as Yankee Stadium has proven, Mike is not a doctor. And Billy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It was a long day, so I'm sorry if I didn't give you guys my all, but hey, I'll come on anytime you guys want. And Kelly, what I would say is pull up Chat GPT and type in there, explain Bitcoin to me like a 5-year-old. And I'm not saying you need that level of it being broken down, but I think you'll get a good.
You're cool. You're on point. You're good. So okay, I will we'll do that. Yeah, I hit Chat GPT. That's probably another show for another day, but I think I need to start using that to be writing the descriptions for our videos. It'd be a heck of a lot easier. That would be.
Don't want to go on a tangent, but I know a lot of people don't use it or they're not super familiar with it. I use Chat GPT every single day. And it is like great subject lines on emails, ideas for content. Like it is super, super helpful. So lean in. That's your personal assistant, man. It's really, really great.
Okay. I think I'll be doing that. Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. And you gave us your all, Billy. It's good stuff. Really appreciate you joining it. My bar might be a little bit low because Mike at his highest gives about 5 or 10%. That's about all we ever get from him ever. So there's that. But cool. Thanks for
I'd like
watching.
to believe I've reached 11 and a half. So.
Bog Panda.